Hello. In the previous session, we discussed about the basic concepts about the labor cost variances. In this session, we will discuss few problems and solutions related to labor variance. So, here is our first illustration. The standard output of product EXC is 25 units per hour, right? In manufacturing department of a company employing 100 workers. The standard wage rate per labor hour is rupees 6. In a 42-hour week, the department produced 1040 units. 1040 units of EXC, despite 5% of the time paid was lost due to abnormal reason. The hourly wage rate actually paid was 6.20, rupees 6 and 5.70 respectively to 10, 30 and 60 of workers. Compute relevant variances. So, we need to compute the relevant variances from the given information. Fine. So, we will move to the solution. So, standard man hours per unit is 25 units is the standard output when 100 workers work for 1 hour, right? Hence, standard man hours per unit are 4, right? So, 100 workers divided by 25, so it is 4 standard man hours per unit. Standard man hours for actual output, right? It will be what? 1040, it is given in the problem, you see, it is given 1040 is the number of units, right? So, it is 1040 units at the rate 4 per hour, so it is 4160, right? And what is the rate per hour? Rate per hour is 6, right? It is given here. So, it is 6 rate per hour, amount will be 4160 into 6, that is 24,960, right? 24,960, this is the amount, right? And actual data 1040 units of EXC. So, there are, if you look at the problem, there are 3 groups of laborers, 10, 30 and 60, whose wage rates are different, right? Whose wage rates are different. So, number of workers 10, actual hours paid 420, idle time 21, production hours 399, rate per hour 620, it is given in the question, if you see 620, right? So, amount paid we can calculate 2604, right? For 30 number of workers, actual hours paid 1260, idle time is 63, right? This is coming from 5%. You see, the 5% of 1260, 5% into 1260, so it comes to 63, right? Same with the other cases also. The production is how much? Production is 1197, right? And rate per hour is 6, it is given. Here you see the rate per hour for these workers is 6, and if I multiply this, we will get 7560. Fine. Now, for 60 workers, is another group, 60 workers. For 60 workers, the actual hours paid is 2520, right? It is 2520, and idle time is 126, 5% of 2520 is 126, production 2394, rate per hour is given 5.7, you see 5.7. So, 5.7, if I multiply this, I should get 14,364. If I add this, right, the total amount paid is 24,528, right? and the production hours is total 3990, idle time total is 210, and the total actual hours paid is 4200. Fine. Okay. Now we are computing from this information, we are computing the variances, right? So first what we will do, we will calculate the labor cost variance. So labor cost variance is standard labor cost minus actual labor cost. Standard labor cost, you see, we calculated here 24960, right? And actual labor cost, so we are putting 24960 here, and actual labor cost we calculated at 24,528, right? So 24,528 we can calculate 432. If we solve, it is 432 favorable, right? Labor rate variance, the labor rate variance we can calculate like this: 420 hours, right? Actual hour, so actual hour we can see here, actual hours it is 420 hours, right? Here you see actual hours for first group, right? It is 420 hours into rupees 6. Rupees 6 is the standard, rupees 6 and 620. 620 is the amount actually paid, and standard wage rate for each labor is rupees 6. So I can put it like this. So 6, the standard rate. It is same for all three groups. For first group, right, it is 6 rupees 20 paisa. So it is paying more than what is standard. So it is 84 adverse if we solve, right? The second group, right, they spend 1260 hours. So it is here 1260 hours, right? And rupees 6 into minus rupees 6, so it is nil, right? And the third group, they have 2520 hours, rupees 6 minus 570, so it is 756 favorable. Fine. So if we add all those, we will get 672 favorable, right? So 756 favorable minus 84 adverse, so we can see it is 672 favorable. Fine. Labor efficiency variance is standard rate per hour, which is 6 for all the groups. Standard man hours 4160, right? We calculated here 4160 minus the actual production hours. Actual production hours, we can see it is 4200 from here, right? Actual hours paid including the idle time. So minus 4200, it is coming to 240 adverse, right? So actual number of hours paid is more than the standard hours, so it is adverse 240, right? Now this labor rate variance, labor rate variance plus labor efficiency variance is equal to labor cost. This is a check whether our calculations are correct or not. So labor rate variance we have already calculated 672 favorable, plus labor efficiency variance we did 240 adverse, right? So if we solve it, right, then we should get 432 favorable, because this is favorable. So we will get 432 favorable, right? So it is coming here 432 favorable. Fine. And idle time variance, we can calculate standard rate per hour into idle time hours. So 6 into 210 hours. So it is 1260 adverse. It is adverse because some amount of time is been wasted as an idle time. Fine. Okay. Illustration 2. Let's go to illustration 2. The standard labor component and the actual labor component engaged during the month are given below. Particulars: standard number of workers in group, skilled 30, semi-skilled 10 and unskilled 10. Standard wage rate rupees per hour 5, 3 and 2, right? Actual number of workers employed during the month in the group, it is 24, 15 and 12, right? Actual wage rate per hour 6, 2.5 and 2, right? During the month of 200 working hours, the group produced 9,600 standard hours of work. So what we need to do? We need to calculate the labor rate variance, labor efficiency variance, labor mix variance, and then total labor cost variance. So these variances we need to calculate. So basic data, it is given like this. Standard labor rate for standard group, skilled 30, 10, 10. So it is, you see, it is given here 30, 10, 10. So it is given here, right? Hours per month 200, 200, 200, right? So hours per month, it is 200 working hours. It is given, right? It is 200. Total hours, if I multiply these two, right? So if I multiply 30 into 200, so I should get 6,000. So this into this is equal to 6,000. This into this 10 into 200, it is 2,000, and 2,000 total if I add, so it will come to 10,000, right? What is the standard rate? The standard rates are given here 5, 3 and 2, right? So here it is 5, 3 and 2 standard rate, right? Standard labor cost, it will be how much? This will come like this, 6,000 into 5. So it is 30,000. 2,000 into 3. So it is 6,000. So like this, right? 4,000. So total will be 40,000, right? So standard rate per group, standard rate per hour of group, it comes to how much? 40,000 divided by 10,000. So 40,000 divided by 10,000. So it comes to 4. Okay. Standard hour rate actual group, it is 24, 15 and 12, right? It is given here 24, 15 and 12. Fine. And hours per month, it is 200 each, right? So you can multiply 24 into 200 is equal to 4,800. 15 into 200 is equal to 3,000. Similarly, 12 into 200 is equal to 2,400. If you add, you will get 10,200. Fine. Standard rate is same, 5, 3 and 2, right? So you can calculate it, 4,800 into 5, right? So it comes to 24,000. Fine. So you can calculate it, it comes from 4,800 into 5, right? This is 3,000 into 3, and this is 2,400 into 2, right? If you add this, you will get 37,800, and 37,800 per standard rate per hour of groups, it comes to 3.71, right? Now actual labor hour rate for actual group, it is 24, 15, 12, number of workers, again same. It is hours per month, it is 200, 200, 200, and if you the change is here, the actual wage rate is here 6, 2.5 and 2, right? So you can see this 6, 2.5 and 2, and if you calculate, it comes to 4,800 into 6, that is 28,800, 3,000 into 2.5, 7,500, 2,004 and 2, it is 4,800. So if you add, it will come to 41,100, and rate will be this, right? So we can write it like this: standard cost of output hours we can 9,600, right? It is given here, standard hours, right? So it comes from the question, right? Actual hours at standard rates for standard group, it is 10,200, right? Standard hour rate for actual group, it is 10,200, right? Actual hours at standard rate of actual group, here also it is coming 10,200, right? 10,200. Rate per hour, you see here, it is 4. Okay, now you see the standard cost of output is 9600, right? Rate per hour is 4 and amount is 9600 into 4, that is 38,400, right? This is coming from 9,600 into 4, right? And for actual hours at standard rates of standard group, we can see here it is 10,200, right? And it is 4 is the rate, right? And if I multiply 10,200 into 4, so I will get 40,800. The standard hour rate for actual group, it is 10,200 here total hours, and the rate is 3.71. So I can do it like this: 10,200 into 3.71, 10,200 into 3.71. So I can get it 37,842. So if I and the actual wages paid to the group, right? We have calculated here, it is 41,100 for 10,200 units. So it is 41,100 here for 10,200 units, right? And if I solve, it should come, rate should come at 4.03. Fine. Now we can calculate the variance. So the total labor cost variance, right? It can come from the difference of 1 and 4. So 1 minus 4. 1 is the standard cost of output and the actual cost, right? So actual cost is more than the standard cost, so it is adverse. Fine. And the difference is 38,400 minus 41,100, so it comes to 2,700. Fine. The labor rate variance we can calculate 3 minus 4. This is 3 minus 4, right? So if I calculate it, right, like 37842 minus 41,100, so it comes to 3258 adverse, right? And labor efficiency variance we can calculate 1 minus 2, right? 1 is the standard cost of output, so it is 38400 minus the efficiency variance is it is coming to, it is 40,800, right? So it is 2400 adverse, right? And the labor mix variance we can calculate 2 minus 3, right? 2 minus 3 is 40,800 minus 37,842. So it is 2958 favorable. Now if you add these 3, right, you should get this one, right? So you can recheck, right? So that 3258 plus 2400 minus 2958, it should come 2700, right? So this was our another problem, right? We are moving to illustration 3 now, right? From the following data, calculate labor variances. The budgeted labor force for producing product A is, this is for product A, 20 semi-skilled workers at the rate of 0.75 paisa per hour for 50 hours, 10 skilled workers at the rate of 1.25 per hour for 50 hours. The actual labor force employed for producing A is 22 semi-skilled workers at the rate of 0.80 paisa per hour for 50 hours, 8 skilled workers at the rate rupees 1.20 per hour for 50 hours. So this was the illustration 3. Fine. Okay. Now we need to calculate the variances. So we can do it like this. Semi-skilled worker hours 1000 and skilled it is 500. So the total is 1500, rate per unit 0.75 for semi-skilled, 1.25 for skilled. So total is 750, right? If you multiply this 1000 into 0.75, you should get 750, and if you multiply 500 into 1.25, you should get 625. So total is this, right? 1375, right? This is standard cost. What is my actual cost? The semi-skilled has taken 1100 hours at the rate of 0.80 rupees 0.80 per unit, and skilled took 400 hours 1.20 per unit. So if you multiply this, you will if you multiply this, you should get the total, right? If you multiply this 400 into 1.20, you should get the total. So this is the total amount. So standard cost of actual mix, it is 825 and 500, and total is 1325. Now we can calculate the labor cost variance. So labor cost variance is equal to standard cost of labor minus actual cost of labor, right? So standard cost of labor is 1375, sorry. So the standard cost of labor is 1375 minus actual cost, we calculated 1360. So the standard cost is higher than actual cost, so it is favorable, right? And the difference is 15, right? We can also see the labor rate variance. Labor rate variance is equal to actual time into standard rate minus actual rate. So for semi-skilled workers, the standard, the actual time is 1100, it is given here 1100, and standard rate is 0.75, it is given here, and actual rate is 0.8, it is given here. So actual rate is more than the standard rate, so it is adverse, so 55 adverse. Now you see, we can do a verification. So in case of labor rate variance, for semi-skilled it is 55 adverse, for skilled it is 20 favorable, right? So net is 35 adverse, right? And for efficiency, we have 75 adverse for semi-skilled, for skilled it is 125 favorable, so it is 50 favorable, right? So 50 favorable. So if I add these two, like if I do like this here, if you add this and this, right, 35. So labor efficiency variance plus labor rate variance should be equal to labor cost variance, right? So here it is 50 and minus 35, so it is 15, so it is, it is okay, so it is verified. Okay, thank you.